Hey, welcome to the Back Chatter Podcast. I'm your host, Brian, alongside my co-host, as always, a man who is not holding a baby for the first time today at 3:15 p.m. Adam, how you doing?
That sounds like a joke. That sounds like a bit you wrote. No,
But it's not.
no. I woke up at 8 a.m. this morning and I've had a baby in my arms. We planned to record at 3. I got here at what, 3:10?
Yep.
First of all, because I couldn't get rid of the baby in my arms.
Now, are you
So
lumping Rachel in as the third baby in this?
listen, that is something you said. I don't want to categorize my wife as anything but she's a wonderful mother.
That's
But
great.
if you
Good
call her a
answer.
baby, I'm not gonna say anything.
So, your kids like you, at least. We can say that much. They enjoy being cradled by you.
I would say they're fully and 100% dependent on me for everything in their lives. And so, does that equate to liking? I
Sure.
don't know. Yeah, they love that I feed them, and I give them at least a base amount of love. Um, but yeah, I don't know that they like me. I don't think they've like, they're not like, dad's an acquired taste, but we've acquired it. I don't think I don't
I
think
think
they're
you're
there.
selling yourself too short. I think you're
I think they're like, he gives me, 4 to 8 ounces of milk every so many hours, and that's delightful. And he's kind of funny once in a while.
yeah, and that is with a bottle, correct?
Straight from the teat, Brian.
I'm
Thanks,
gonna be.
thanks for asking.
I'm never gonna catch up to you, but I'm at least gonna get on the board later this year with baby holding because my
Hmm.
daughter is in a couple days here. She'll be like 1 month away from her due date.
Crazy,
So little
crazy.
little grandbaby girl is gonna be here in a
Yep.
month, and can't wait.
If you're gonna start a podcast with a grandpa. How many times can I say it?
Listen, that's a much better joke than my comeback, which is, hey, if you're going to start a golf podcast based around a recreational activity that demands a lot of time, start it with somebody who has two children under the age of one.
That is well worded.
Thank you. It's a little wordier than yours
It's
and not nearly as
quip,
funny.
quip, zing.
Listen, but despite the fact that you've got a couple of little ones in the house, and despite the
Hmm.
fact that I am a grandfather here soon,
Yeah,
we're still going to capitalize and build upon an amazing first year with a better second
mm,
year, and we'll get to that I think a little bit
yeah,
here later
yeah.
because today we have our September mailbag, some
Hmm.
wonderful listener submitted questions. You ready to dive into them?
Oh, I've never been more ready for anything in my life.
Okay. All right. Question number one comes from Tracy Sokovia. The question, the question is, do you know what Sokovia is, by the way?
No, but thank you for putting me on the spot and making me look stupid
Well,
right off
it
the
just
bat.
shows that you're not like deep in the Marvel universe, because
Oh, I'm not.
yeah,
I'm not.
and I kind of knew that
I'm not.
about you. I didn't.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't even think you would laugh at
I
Sokovia.
resent the fact, in fact, so Marvel, I would have been more into Marvel comics theoretically. I believe that Marvel movies and the entity that they are have removed quality movies from the public sphere. The funding has all gone to them, so it needs to be something that hits in the theater immediately because there's no DVD sales. So the reason that there's not great movies that I loved in the past being made right now, like
Hmm.
Good Will Hunting would not be made right now because they'd be like, "No, we got to make Thor 7." And it makes me angry.
Hmm. So you're just blaming Kevin Feige for all of it. It's you're probably not wrong. Everything has to be grand scale, end of the world stakes,
Yeah.
superhero nonsense. Anyway, Trace,
Spend $1 billion to make 10, and that's all they're doing now.
yeah, Tracy asks, "What's your least favorite part of a scramble? Is it trying to decide if you want to use mulligans on a 25-foot putt that everyone just barely missed, or is it thinking you're going to win and then realizing you're 6 shots behind the leaders, or maybe something else?"
So I have played golf 3 times since my daughter was born.
Mm,
2 of them were scrambles with you.
mm,
Now, Brian, I love a scramble with you, Brian.
yeah,
Okay, So I, especially when I haven't golfed with you in a while, so just a chance for us to chat, catch up, um, and just be the friends that we are. That's great, wonderful. I hate scrambles. I hate everything about them.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm playing golf. Everything about them, my golf swing goes to crap because I'm trying to just like hit the perfect shot at all times instead of trying to keep it in play. So it messes me up in that way. And then always, without fail, yes, you make a nice run on the back nine, you get to 57, and you're like, wow, incredible. We made a run. We made every putt down the stretch. And then you're like, we might have won this thing. And then you're in fourth place.
Yeah.
You're in fourth place because someone shot 47, Brian. Someone shot 47 because they made every putt from the beginning. They also hold out from the fairway 2 to 3 times. That's what happens in scrambles. I don't, if I never played in a scramble again, I would never, ever miss it. I would never be like, that was a fun stage of my life when I played in scrambles. I don't need it. I
Yeah.
don't want it. Let's never do it again unless you want to, like, next week.
I wish I could argue with you here. I'm kind of on board with you for all the same reasons. We talked about it the other day. It would be fun to play in a scramble that where you actually like played by golf rules and where there wasn't mulligans and yardsticks. And I realize why every charity scramble uses those things because the whole point of it is a fundraiser and it does raise money. So, um, yeah, of
Yeah.
course, it all makes sense.
And we will play in two man. We will play in multiple two-man scrambles next year.
Yeah,
I believe. So like I love the format of scrambles. Not the problem. It's the corporate four-man scramble with the mulligans, with the yardsticks, with the string. I can't stand it. It doesn't nothing for the competitive golf Adam at all.
yeah, but yet, like you're saying, the whole bad day of golf is still better than a good day of work thing. Like it's still golf. You're still happy to be on the golf course, but in terms of my least and favorite forms of playing golf, going out for a scramble, I can't think of anything really lower than
I'm
that.
going to counter the worst day,
Mm,
worst day, best day, all that. Is that if you invite me on a scramble, you're one of my closest friends in the world,
hmm.
and so if you invite me, I'm like, yes, I will go sit and play golf with Brian. If anybody else invites me to a scramble, if I'd been listen, I was grateful to play in that scramble the other day. I really was. But if you had not been there,
Hmm.
I would have been slightly like, I should probably be at home with the kids. you know, you
Right.
know, it's just where if we had gone out and played, a morning round, I would not have felt that. Where I was just like, it feels like a waste of time. Unlike where golf never feels like a waste of time to
Sure.
me, scrambles can feel like a
Yeah.
waste of time. And I'm so tired of benefiting charities. And
But but to be clear, when I said a bad day of golf is better than a good day at work, you're not equating being home with your family as being work. Like work for
no,
you is
no,
AutoZone.
yes, I'd rather play in the scramble. Yes, you're
Yeah.
right.
Okay. I just didn't
You're
want
right.
people to
But
mishear that.
no, I'm just saying it's close. That's my feeling on scrambles at this point in my life is that yes, that's true, of course, but it's close.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of that scramble, I used that scramble to knock out one of my, or almost knock out one of my goals for the year. I have one of my
Hmm.
goals, as you know, is to play 36 holes 5 times this year. I played the morning and the afternoon round, 36 holes. So that was my fourth time. So I got to do it one more time. That was also rounds 84 and 85 for me. So I know I have another 5 rounds on the books,
Yeah.
um, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So that just means 10 more rounds, which means I am absolutely on pace to make that happen.
Yeah.
Also, want to shout out the benefit tournament was for Lancaster County Christian School. The head of
Yeah.
that school is a listener to this podcast who you got to meet for the first time on Tuesday. That would be Nate Long. And
Wow.
Nate not only is a listener, but he also did some artwork that he
Yeah.
presented you with at lunch. And you have a smile on your face, so I know you really, really appreciated that.
Well, I have a smile on my face for two reasons. First of all, because this is a great gift I received
Hmm.
from Nate. Also, because I just need to point out I love scrambles, and I loved the scramble we played just, just this past week.
Listen,
Um,
Nate is a big golfer. I could almost guarantee that he enjoys playing his own ball way more than scrambles. So I don't think
yes.
he's going to take that personally.
So please, to anyone involved in this scramble, nothing personal. I understand why you made every decision you made. Um, so yeah, Nate, he likes to make, as he told me, it was a side hobby, where his real job is running a school.
Hmm.
He said that to me very directly. My real job is running a school. My side hobby is sketching, um, you know, holes worthy of commemoration for people. And so he had made one for you, a hand sketch drawing of a hole, of your hole in one hole, your one hole in one. Can
My
you even
one hole
imagine?
in one. Yep, that is, and I believe I had put that at some point on my Instagram feed, Brian Lane Golf. So you can check that out if you want.
And so we started season one of Bag Chatter with you saying, my co host, a man who has never four putted in his life. And I leaned in.
Hmm.
I leaned into the never four putted. And then I four putted at Pilgrim's Oak and in a U.S. Open qualifier.
Yes.
And Nate was kind enough to sketch me hole one of Pilgrim's Oak, to commemorate my four putt, and it's very special. It will hang behind me,
Mm.
at some point here. I have not hung it yet, but that is nothing, towards what will happen in the future, because it will be hanging on my wall.
It's great. It's got the date on there. It's something that you can look back at and remember. Although
Mm-hmm.
it was interesting, we actually talked to somebody who was sitting at our table for lunch,
Hmm.
who, as soon as we brought up four putting at Pilgrim's Oak, he knew exactly which hole and which pin placement, which was crazy.
Which is crazy. Which, I mean, that is crazy because it was ridiculous. It was insane. So I watched you putt one off the green, if I remember correct. Is that true?
Almost, almost.
Almost off the green. So
Yeah,
it scared me. Whatever you did scared me.
yeah.
And so then I was putting downhill, left a 15-foot putt. I hit it 8 feet, left myself 7 feet, then putted the 7-footer off the green.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "What is this?" I mean, I almost made the second putt. I
Right.
did not think it was going to trickle, and then it trickled, 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 gone. And so I was like, "This is ridiculous." And yeah, so I four putted, and
You may have five putted. I don't remember
yeah,
if.
you know what? It doesn't. No, I was on the fringe for the fourth
Oh
one,
yeah,
Brian.
so it was technically.
Excuse you.
You may have used your putter five times in that hole. Is what I meant to say.
Well, I did tee off with it, so yeah, you're right in that in that sense.
Yeah, no, that's.
That was very very fun, very very fun.
And he also did have, in addition to that hole, did commemorate one of your
Yes,
hole in ones at
yes.
Glen Mills. He had two versions of it. One was the normal one, and then one I asked him to put a red X way away from the green where your ball actually landed before it caromed into the hole. So
Yes.
good job by you, Nate. That was very cool. All right, question number two. Jordan Ryder asks, "What's the lowest under par you've ever been at any point in a round?"
Hmm. I 5 under
Whoa,
is
really?
yes. Yeah.
I did
No,
not know
that's
that about you.
yeah.
I don't know. I just assumed it was going to be three, maybe four. Five under is crazy
Yeah.
low.
Well, I was 4 under when I shot 68 this year at Honeybrook. I was 4 under heading into your hole in one hole,
That's
and
right.
promptly made a triple.
Mm,
I was 4 under that day. And then with Grant back in 2018, a couple weeks after I shot 69 from the blues with you for the first time ever being in the 60s,
hmm.
Grant and I played at Honeybrook from the white tees. And we played the back nine first.
Okay.
And in fact, it was even weirder because we had to come back and play. It was like there was an event going on or something. And so we had to mix around. We finished on hole one.
Okay.
And I had been 5 under through 13 holes
Wow.
and went four over the rest of the way, including bogeying one to shoot 69 from the whites. So I was 5 under through 13 is what I remember.
Wow.
And then shot 69 again from the white tees
That's low. That is.
for a minute.
Do you remember where that? I don't know if there were any eagles mixed in there, but do you remember which hole got you to 5 under? I know that's asking you to remember a few years back,
I
but
birdied 5.
birding five.
Does
Okay.
that make sense?
I
So
mean, I don't.
9, no, 4. No, I birdied 4.
Okay.
Sorry, that's 13 holes. So yes, I started on the. No, it was 5 because I said I figured I. So I started on the back 9. Then we had skipped one. I don't remember what happened. I
Sure.
know that we played the back 9 first, and then when we came back around, we had to skip to 2 or something and come back to 1. So I don't remember. I know that we played the back 9 first, and we finished on 1 because of how we had to skip around a little bit. And I birdied 5 to get to 5 under after birdie. So I birdied 4 and
Okay.
5 to get to 4 and then 5 under.
Wow.
And then I think I doubled 7. And then, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I made
Will
some and then bogeyed 1 and then bogeyed something else.
Will you ever get to 5 under again?
Absolutely. Like it's not even a question. I will
I love it.
I will finish around at 5 under. I will
Oh,
not I will not get to 5 under. I will finish
maybe
around
that
at
could be
5.
one of your goals for next year to get to 5 under at some point during a round.
Terrible goal. Loser's mentality goal. Uh,
How is that a loser's mentality?
because getting to 5 under doesn't mean anything. I was at 4 under through 12 holes this year. That's not an accomplishment to get to do that.
Listen,
I finished 2 under and I tripled a hole. I'm like I played well enough to shoot 65 this year. You know what I'm saying?
I
So it's
get
like
you didn't though.
I did though.
No, but you didn't shoot 65.
Right. I know. No, no. So shooting 65. So yes, getting to 4 under. Do I feel any accomplishment about getting to 4 under? None.
Oh,
None. Like
you're.
zero.
I
And
disagree wholeheartedly with that.
no, I've played 4 holes in 4 under several times. That doesn't mean
I
anything to
mean,
me
that puts you in
inherently.
like the top 0.01% of golfers, maybe.
No, I get, yeah, but not, so listen, I've accepted, very much accepted. I'm in the top 0.01% of golfers.
Right.
Like, got it. You are too. So, like, anybody who's breaking 80 is in the top half of a percent at worst. And so, but then I know I've played a bunch of competitions this year. I'm going to play a bunch more next year.
Yeah.
When I get into playing with real golfers, I'm very middle of the pack. I'm very, on a good day
Sure.
sometimes. So, do I care that I got to 4 under this year? No, I'm almost frustrated that I got to 4 under this year and immediately backed up.
That's it.
Immediately, birdied hole 12 at Honeybrook to get to 4 under and
Right.
tripled the next hole. And would I like to tell you that it had nothing to do with me being at 4 under for the first time in a little while? Sure, but it didn't have nothing to do with it.
Right.
And I finished 2 under, and that's great. You know what? I was so happy to shoot 68 at Honeybrook this year, but that I was my brain away from shooting 65 or better.
And I guess that's part of my point is that when you got to 2 under, it didn't phase you. When you got to 3 under, it didn't phase you. Not that it phased you at 4 under, but like to me that is to be low, quote unquote low, and I realize that is relative, different for everyone. But to be low and to stay there or to go lower, like because my answer to this question is 2 under. That's the lowest I've ever been. I'm pretty sure I would remember off the top of my head if I was 3 under before. This past year, when we played Applecross, I started off with back-to-back birdies. It was
Hmm.
2 under,
I remember.
and then strung together a bunch of pars. Ended up finishing 4 over. But and I think one other time at Honeybrook, I birdied two of the first three holes somehow, maybe like 1 and 3 or something, or 2 and 3. But I've never been to 3 or 4 under. So to me, that is somewhat of an accomplishment. To be low and to take it lower is that counts for something to me.
It's the whole thing where this is a very loose Stagner thing, where it's the whole like, so what is an 18 handicap? How many birdies do they make versus
Yeah.
versus a scratch golfer? And it's like the 18 handicap makes 0.7 birdies per round, and the scratch golfer makes 2 birdies per round. And it's like birdies and eagles are a statistical anomaly to me. So it's
Hmm.
like I have twice in my life. So one time I started this way on the back at Moccasin Run. I started birdie birdie eagle and was
Mm.
4 under through three. I've had two 3 hole stretches in my life where I was 4 under through 3 holes,
Mm.
and it's like, okay, is that mean? Yeah, I love that. Obviously, big fan.
Yeah.
But neither of those rounds where I had a 4 under stretch through 3 holes did I finish more than 2 under. Both of them, I finished 2 under
Hmm.
actually. And so it's like, to me, those rounds were fun because I scored, but I also felt like, oh, I've got to do that to shoot 2 under. And
Right.
so that speaks to the state of my game in a very negative way,
Hmm.
where I'm like, okay, yeah, I come back to the mean, and the mean for me, especially if I'm a little nervous because I'm now under par, is bad. I had to play I had to play a lot of holes at bogey golf to get back to that.
Yeah.
And it's like, so yeah, I will never have a goal. I will never have a goal that is to get to a number within a round, because it doesn't even mean you shot a great round. It doesn't. You
Well,
get what I'm
yeah, I get what you're saying. Last thing I'll say on this is that one of us this year set goals that were good, and one of us set goals that we
saying.
repeatedly have said these are not good goals. So maybe
Yeah.
you should trust me about what's a good goal and what's not a good
So
goal.
next year you want me to be like, hey, guess what? Got to 5 under through 8 holes, real hot for a while. Then I shot 72,
What make
and so it means nothing.
have multiple goals, make one of your goals to be to get to 6 under in a round. I mean, you
one of
could
us has, one of us has goals that would have been impressive to accomplish, and one of us doesn't.
that's fair.
Congratulations, you played 36 5 times in a day.
Okay, so now we see how you really feel. Do you like any of my goals?
I don't know. Were any of them accomplishment based?
No, they weren't.
Wow. Then there you
They
go.
were all
No.
experience based.
Yeah. Yuck.
Okay, all right. Well, this might be the last episode of this podcast, but we'll at least get through this episode. Moving on. Pat Solomon asks, "What is the format for your member tournament coming up this weekend?"
How did Pat even know about
Yeah, I
that?
don't know.
That's crazy. That
As
is wild.
we have talked about it a little bit. We
Yeah.
actually just did find out what the format was, and I have it printed out here in front of me. 2 day
Hmm.
tournament, 36 holes total. Day one, front nine, better ball of partners.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, can you imagine us not having a good ball for an entire hole?
I
That's hard to imagine.
I
So
feel like
no, yeah, I'm comfortable with it.
I feel like we I don't want this to be the kiss of death, but I feel like we usually play pretty well in that situation.
Yeah. We make a lot of pars.
Day one, back nine, and this is actually a change from the usual format. Instead of alternate shot, it is selective drive alternate
Mm.
shot, which is
Which
interesting.
is huge for us, actually. It's actually huge for us
Yeah,
because I'd say that we both drive the ball slightly better than our handicaps.
yeah,
And so that getting to be like, so knowing that we will be probably in a decent spot, on most holes, is going to give us an advantage. You agree with that? Does that make sense?
I think so, especially from the whites, which is what this tournament will be played at Honeybrook. Yeah,
We should have a wedge. We should have a wedge into every hole based on that.
and selective drive alternate shot means that we could use, if your drive was better, like we could, in theory, use your drive every hole, and I'd be hitting the second shot on every
Oh,
hole.
that's weird. So that takes away the whole factor of what tee do you want to
Yes,
hit off of?
yes. Which, I mean, it is kind of fun to strategize that a little bit, but I'm pretty sure that's what that means. I think you
And
just
that's the
pick.
back nine. So as we go around Amish Corner, for
Yeah,
instance, we can really, that will be the most strategic format we've ever played, probably. It will be like, okay, put one in the fairway on 14 and 15, and then one of us try to rip a driver around a corner, kind of thing. And that it's going to play into our hands, Brian. I don't know how well we're going to do in this thing, but that I like.
Yeah, I think while alternate true alternate shot poses some interesting questions about who tees off on odds and evens, I think this is going to give us some interesting questions as well. Like, I mean, we'll go hole by hole. Hole 10, well, hole 10, there's really no question. We're both going to be shooting at the green. Whoever's got the shortest putt, basically, the other one will hit
Hmm.
it. Hole 11, if we have a situation where the drives are similar, who do we want hitting the approach shot? Who do we want hitting the birdie putt? You're a little
Brian,
bit
when have you
longer.
ever hit a similar drive to me on?
I was about to get to that. You're a little bit longer than me off the tee. So, I mean this is a question we could face right away on hole 11 if my drive leaves us with 135 in and your drive leaves us with like 105 in. It's like, okay, do we want me hitting a 105 shot and then you
Yeah.
trying to hit the birdie putt, or do you want you hitting the 135 and me? I think,
I think we'd be overthinking if we did anything like that. I think if I have an advantage over you distinctly in any area, it's in driving the golf ball.
yeah,
And so if we've got one at 105, it's a coin flip between us who hits it closer at 105.
yeah,
And so it's like I just don't think it I think we then play it as if it's a scramble. Where it's just unless it, I don't know, maybe if they're dead equal.
mm-hmm,
If they're dead equal, then I guess we have a conversation about,
right,
do you feel more confident putting right now? How do you feel about your wedges right now?
right,
But like I think, if I've got a better drive, we're never saying, "Oh, you're better from 130 than I am from 105." That's just not a conversation.
yeah. No, I think you're right. I don't want to overthink that too much. If we both have really good drives on 12 and we're 255 from the front of the green,
Hmm.
um, that's a case where maybe you're hitting the second shot
Yep.
because you do have more length than me, and that would be a stretch for my 3 wood probably. Um, yeah,
That probably the only situation on the. I guess maybe you could argue on 15 is the same thing, where it's
yeah,
just like if you get one out to a certain, so if I'm 15 yards further than you off the tee on 15 and we're both in the fairway, I might be able to hit a hybrid there where you might be stretching a 3 wood, and it's like maybe,
right.
maybe
But
it would have to be the perfect numbers though.
15, I do think there could be, depending on how we're playing and feeling that day with that tee shot, you know, if whether driver, 3 wood, 4 iron, if one of us is having a bad day with one of those clubs, it might be like, hey, why don't you hit first, put one
Hit a
out
five
there,
iron, hit a 5 iron into the fairway.
right, and then the other person can go. Yeah, I think there'll be some interesting discussions to
Hmm.
have. On day 2, it is partner scramble, 2-man scramble on the front, and on the back, team aggregate. So playing your own, both of us playing our own ball and adding
Yep.
up our scores. So
That's an aggressive format.
it
It's
is.
an aggressive format.
It
I
is.
think we can we don't know how we're gonna do. We know Jim Barnett's not gonna win, so we've got one
Wow.
guy that wait sorry what?
Wow. Are you throwing shade directly at Barney and Ellis, his partner, or just at
No,
Barney?
Ellis is a great player, but I mean I just know that with an aggregate format, are you kidding me? They're not gonna win. They're not gonna win the tournament. Are you kidding me?
Wow. Now, thankfully, Barney usually checks out of these episodes at the 20
Yeah,
minute
no,
mark, so he
Barney's not
didn't.
listening at this point. If he was listening, I would have said some really complimentary things about his book. Uh, and what a nice guy he is. Love that guy. He just texted me about the baby this week. Love Barney, but since he's not listening, we know they're not winning the tournament, right? So
He,
count them out.
he is coming in at an 8 handicap, and we're going to be playing off some percentage of handicap, but
Hmm. So
yeah, how you feeling about the fact that your handicap is based off of playing really good golf and a lot of golf, and that hasn't been happening as much in this season?
not great, Brian. Thank you for asking. There is. So I'm coming in as a 1.7. No way I'm a 1.7
Yeah.
right now. I'm a 3.5 is what I am.
Yeah.
I guarantee I'm a 3.5. Um, it'll be fine. I
Yeah.
mean, I think this is probably a fairly reduced handicap tournament anyway,
Yeah.
given the format, and so it's not like I was going to get a lot of strokes no matter what.
Right.
So over 2 rounds, 4 9-hole rounds, um, I'm probably losing like one shot because I'm lower. I wasn't going to be a 5, so it's like at one point this year I was 3.1. That's the highest I ever was, and that wouldn't have gotten me that much in
Right.
this format. So
Do you
it's
know
fine.
if the USJ has any type of paternity adjustment for new parents to the
I
cap?
think so. That was with the 2019 rule changes. I
Okay.
believe they added the paternity thing where
We'll
it's
have to
like,
look into that. All right. Question 4 from Quinn Brody. The question is: are there parts of your game that are in worse shape or maybe just not as sharp here in the final third of the golf season compared to the first couple of months?
well, Mr. Brody, everything, every
Everything.
every every area is not as sharp as it was a few months ago.
Really? Would you say that?
I've barely hit a golf ball.
I mean, or maybe like up until like 3 weeks ago. Like when you finished those last like 5 rounds you played before the season changed for you, was there anything that you felt like you had taken a step back with? I know you the handicap is lower, so overall the golf
No,
was
I was playing
good.
really good golf when the baby was born and just leading into the baby being born. I was playing really good golf, and it
Yeah.
was like, and again, I mean, I was playing at Honeybrook a lot, so I was, the driver wasn't the best it ever is, but getting the ball in play, wedges were great. I think irons are like longer irons are probably always the worst part of the game, but I think that's sort of true for everybody.
Yeah.
So I think just in comparison to everything else, I think I was hitting them fine. Short game actually felt better than it did earlier in the year. Putting felt fine. I wasn't in my head about it at least.
Yeah, you
I'm
kind
like,
of had a dip there in the middle of the year where you're,
yeah, a little
you
bit.
weren't feeling great
Well,
about your putting.
yeah, but pretty quickly, like I switched to the, I switched to the mallet to your
Mm-hmm.
mallet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did have 40 putts in the U.S. Open qualifier, but I will maintain. I will maintain. And I don't know and we're going to talk about this at some point. I think I plan to play a lot of tournaments next year. That's like the main goal for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how I'm going to adjust from playing Honeybrook greens and all these like public course type greens to going to very private greens and putting on them when it matters most. I'm like, I didn't feel like I putted that bad at Rolling Green. I just felt like it was a completely different game.
Yeah.
Um, and since then, I feel like I've putted well. What about you, Brian? Do you feel like there's something dipping in your game?
I feel like my driver is just, if my average for the year is like an A minus,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm at like a B right now. I I got fit for the TSR3 in March out in Oceanside at Titleist. Fantastic experience. He told me made my numbers better. He said this will help eliminate the left miss for the most part, and it's amazing, but that really is what happened. Now, obviously, some of that is my swing, of course. A big part of that is my swing, but
Nope.
although I did pipe one into the driving range on 9, we joke about it. I say it all the time. Once every 3 years, I hit one left into that driving range. It's out of bounds. I get angry, and then I proceed to hit the next 150 drives right into 18 fairway.
We joke a lot about how you do it once every 3 years, and you think about it. I also probably do it once out of every 3 years. But I never think about it. I'm just like, there's no chance I'm hitting it left over there. Recently, one of the recent rounds, I think the last full round we played at Honeybrook, 18 runs adjacent to 9
Mm-hmm.
and to the right of it, so even further left.
Yeah, yeah.
I pulled a drive from 18 that almost went into the driving range. It was 10 yards from being into the driving range from 18, which
Yeah.
would have been incredible.
It completely
What
traversed 9 fairway into 9
into the rough.
rough.
If I'd hit that ball from 9 white tee, I might have been inbounds on the first hole and hitting back into 9 from over there, which would have been incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, that was ridiculously left. No, I remember that. Yeah, for me it's driver. I'm playing the fade and I'm keeping it in play for the most part, and I'm not losing a ton of distance on my good ones, but on my bad ones, I am losing them way right. And I know I can tighten that up. I've gone through seasons where I'm like a straight driver of the golf ball, and I know I'm getting extra yardage when I do that. But I'm like, and I went through this season a few years ago. I don't know if you remember this. I don't know if this is when you were around or not. During my embrace the fade stage, I don't know.
Yeah,
You
I
were a
think
little
I
bit.
came back in. I think I came back in for it. That was
You came back and you
early
were
in
like,
me
"What has
back
happened to you?"
into it. Yeah. I think literally the good parts of Embrace the Fade were like in the month before I moved back from Colorado, and the bad parts. And you were like, I was driving the ball great a month ago, and
Yeah,
you were hitting it off the planet, and I'm like, what has happened?
I was aiming like 35 degrees left and hitting the ball like 240, like just with this massive amount of spin. It really got out of control. I'm not there again, but I am setting up over the ball, and part of my thought process, not to give people a peek into a horror show, but I'm standing over the ball saying, um, slow and wide, because I tend to get so very quick. Slow and wide, trust the fade. Um,
That was
and
my nickname in high school, by the way. Was slow and wide.
why did they stop calling it? Oh, you're just not with high school
Yeah,
friends anymore.
yeah, no, they still do. I
Slow and wide, trust the fade, hold the back off. Those are my thoughts. And hold the back off is because I tend to spin out. It doesn't
You
mean
think?
anything to
I'm sorry.
anyone.
You think slow and wide.
I wanted to just breeze past this part of the conversation.
Wait, you have 4 full sentences and swing.
These are not swing thoughts. These are as I'm setting up to the ball. These are pre-swing thoughts.
Right. Okay.
Slow and
So what
wide,
are they again? Slow and
slow and
wide.
wide, trust the fade,
Okay.
and hold the back off.
Hold the back
Which
off.
for me is like there's there's like multiple things in there. It's actually take a full turn so that my back is facing the target, and then don't spin out immediately. Like
Sure.
keep my back at the target.
Sure.
That's what that means to me.
Sure.
Um,
I'm thinking like so as I have gotten a little bit back into the simulator at work and stuff like that to get a little bit of feel again for the members coming up, and so there's
mhm.
stuff I want to play in this fall. And the only thing I'm thinking about is I'm intentionally hitting every shot. So it doesn't matter how precise it is. Every shot I'm like fade, draw, low, high.
Hmm.
And so I'm trying to have it be that the fundamental, so like for the first 5 swings, I'm like contact only. That's all that matters, right? So just make sure your contact's there,
Hmm.
and then and it doesn't matter where it goes. Then contact is there. Then I'm like, okay, now hit shots. Take left out, take right out, hit a punch shot.
Hmm.
And so I'm trying to have it be like nothing too robotic.
Are you
Where
not
I'm
even
just like,
thinking like clear the hips or whatever the one kind of body thought you had?
if something is going wrong, then yes, you got to figure out what's wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're making the contact, so sometimes I said first 5 shots are about contact. Then it's like, well, what if the first 3 are thin? Okay,
Yeah.
well, you got to figure that. Okay, clear the hips. But once contact's there, the base is there, and then once you have the base, then it's like hit shots instead of trying to hit one shot over and over again and then losing it. I'm
Yeah.
like trying to feel what it feels like to hit every shot over and over again.
Well, if you ever need something different, try having 3 phrases that you repeat to yourself as you address the ball.
Hold the back off.
Don't make fun of my weird swing thoughts, man.
I hate that swing thought. I hate that.
It's not a swing thought, it's a pre swing thought. And don't make fun of it. It's
Well, no,
personal to me.
hold the back off is a swing thought. To be clear, that's not like a setup thought. That's something that
Yeah,
happens
I
in the
guess
swing.
it is. You're right. It is. I'm trying not to think of it during the swing. I'm just trying to
Sure.
remember it and then. But
Hmm.
you're right. It is a swing thought.
I don't like any swing thought that has nothing to do with like the hands.
You're you're
I'm
too
like,
you're too hand focused.
but yeah, probably. But it's like yeah. Never mind. You know
No.
what? Forget it.
Okay. No. See, we don't.
What?
You don't want us going down deep into your rabbit hole of things that you
It's the
think of.
only reason I'm good at golf is because of my hands. Really,
You have
that's
elite
why.
hand talent.
I have elite hand talent. I
That's,
do have elite
that's
hand
what
talent.
somebody once told you.
I don't even care what anyone says. How dumb that sounds. I have great hands. And so,
Although,
like, I was an okay golfer with no technique because I could just flip it, and I could flip it well. And then it's like I gotta remind myself that the rest of everything needs to be there.
Rick Omani told you a few years back that you had elite hand talent, but then also this year, a coworker at work called you Mr. Handsy, I believe, and he did not mean it as a compliment.
And if he's listening, I've never seen him break 80. So so let's tone it down with the
Yeah,
nicknames.
go
You
back to
know,
selling your brake pads at AutoZone, buddy.
that's right.
All right. Moving on, Riley Pomplamoose asks, will you be at the Chasing Scratch Velcrin Invitational next month?
I wouldn't be caught dead at the chasing scratch. No, we'll be there. Yeah, no. Sorry.
Yes.
Want to do this over? Should we do this over?
No, we shouldn't. You've put it out there. Actually, you won't technically be at the VI if
Yeah.
I
No, I
believe
feel weird about that.
The Monday event is the actual Velcrin Invitational. You won't be there, but you will be there for a couple of
Hmm.
pre-event Saturday and Sunday, a couple of courses in North Carolina. And I got to tell you, having that on the calendar, the fact that you and I are going to be down there playing a couple of
Mm.
rounds is just chef's kiss. It's fantastic.
It's so exciting. So exciting. Can't wait to be there. I'm just bummed that I'm going to miss the actual like event. So like I'm
Yeah.
just popping in for a couple days of golf. You are going and then replacing me with your better looking former co-host Tyler Stanton. And so people will be confused. They'll be like, "Is this Adam?" And you'll be like, "No, he's much uglier than this." You'll say,
But way more hand talent than this guy.
"Well, so much more hand talent than Tyler."
And that's not really a knock
Unbelievable.
on Tyler. You just have that good of hand talent.
Set reasonable goals, Tyler. This isn't one you can live up to. Uh, but so yeah, no. So I'll be down there for a couple days. You'll be there for the whole time, correct?
I will be. Yep.
And so I've been challenged. I've been challenged by Casey Bartley, who
Bartlett or Bartley?
I believe it's Bartley.
Okay.
Wait, wait. I'm
Yeah,
looking
I
at it
don't
right
want
now.
I don't want more bulletin board material if you're saying his last name wrong and disrespecting him in that way. Yeah, there was a challenge. I saw some of this back and forth on Twitter. I saw pictures of like a championship belt.
It is Bartley.
It is
It's Bartley.
Bartley. Okay, good on you.
Casey Bartley. I knew it was Bartley, but I didn't want to. You don't want to double down and then be wrong. You
Right.
understand?
Exactly.
Challenged me. So he had the audacity months back to argue with me about whether I am a more well-rounded athlete than LeBron James.
Mr.
And
Slow and Wide himself.
Mr. Slow and Wide was a better athlete than LeBron. And again, that man would beat me at basketball. He would beat me at basketball for sure in a number of track and field events.
But you've seen his baseball swing and you've seen his golf swing, and so
And so I've got some. Listen, it's not going to be a shutout. I'll tell you that. It's going to be a contest. I might be plus 200 on FanDuel. I don't know. But it's going to be a contest. But so Mr. Bartley, who writes for, is it Purdue? I don't know. He writes for a collegiate basketball publication, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
So he knows some basketball, and that should tell him, yeah, he does know that LeBron's going to beat me at basketball. But he had the audacity to question whether I might be an equal athlete to him. Now he and I are going to go head to head for a championship belt, a Velcrin heavyweight championship belt. at Tobacco Road in
Mm,
North Carolina. It's going to be incredibly serious. Um, and yeah, I mean, and I could make the excuse I haven't played in months,
right.
so I'm coming in at my worst here. And you know what? I don't care. I'm not going to make that excuse. I'm too big to make that excuse, Brian.
I don't see what your weight
Too
has
wide.
anything to do
I'm
with it,
too
but
wide to make that
I
excuse.
actually wasn't excited when I heard this because I just want you to have a good time, and I was like, well, what the heck? If Adam like doesn't have is not on his game at Tobacco Road, and Casey beats him, it's like, is this going to put a pall on the whole weekend? But maybe you like this kind of stuff.
It'll be fine.
Okay.
It'll be fine. I know. First of all, I'll play well, Brian. I don't know what to tell you. No, I have no idea how I'm going to play in North Carolina. No clue whatsoever. Probably not amazing, but I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it my all. There's a belt on the line. You know this, and I'll take solace in the fact that LeBron wouldn't have beat me any day on any course.
That's true.
And we LeBron and I. He can challenge me, and he can name the course, and I'll be there. I'll get there.
What do you think the odds are in bocce ball? Is it even odds, you versus LeBron? Just like lawn bowling or whatever.
I like my odds. I like my chances. I've never played it. I don't think he has either.
Okay.
I think golf skills translate to bocce more than basketball skills do.
I think the headline here is that you've never played bocce ball before.
Not once.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, let's move on. We got two more questions and we'll get out of here. Cameron Kerr asks, Vegas sets the over-under on the number of times you play Pine Valley in your life at zero point 0.5. What are you taking?
Hmm. Hmm. I really hope this is like a sneaky, fun way to tell me that we're
Hmm.
playing
That
Pine
would
Valley.
that would be great. Sadly,
Uh,
spoiler alert, we are not invited to Pine Valley yet.
okay, then under.
This was your best chance right here.
I
This
was like, here we go. Here it is. I've been waiting for this.
Oh, I
Uh,
wish. I wish.
we live in the right area.
Mm-hmm.
We have a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
Brian. We're going to be in a golf publication soon. You never know. I think if I am living in the Philadelphia area for the rest of my life, then I'm going to set the number at 1. I think and
Yeah.
I think one time the situation will present itself. So I'm going to take the over in my life if I live in Philadelphia.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take the over too. I think for that reason, we live in this area. We have a golf podcast. I've talked to many people who have played it one time, and it's always like, oh, okay. It's not like you just obviously need to have the right invite, and so at some point, the whole blind squirrel thing, we just might stumble into the right invite. Ellis Chandler, who we mentioned earlier, he got to play. I don't know if you saw that a couple months ago. He played with Harold Varner III, actually, and
Like,
some other
why
member
not?
there. Why not?
Why not? Why not? Okay, sure.
The Crump Cup is held there every year. It's an
Hmm.
amateur event. They used to let spectators in pre-COVID on the Sunday of the event. Just yesterday, I was like, wait a second, I think this Sunday is Crump Cup Sunday. So I did a little bit of Googling, knowing that the weather is supposed to be just dreadful here
Right.
this Saturday and Sunday as we're recording this. I did find deep in some like golf WRX forum a recent discussion about it where somebody who recently played there said no spectators this year, and it sounds like they may never go back to having spectators. So that would be a bummer because
So weirdly, for the first time in years, I did the same deep dive yesterday.
you did,
Found out the same thing,
huh?
and also was like, "That's such a strange move on their part." It was sort of like the whole thing because the Crump Cup, it's a historic. Gap has a lot of historic championships. Is it actually a Gap event?
That I'm not sure of. I don't
So
think so, but I'm
this
not
area
sure.
has a lot. Like so, the Patterson Cup, which is just an amateur event, or it's actually a mid-am event around here. Is the oldest golf championship in the United States, and so it's
Wow.
just kind of just cool. And it's like that tradition of like, hey, Pine Valley is so exclusive, but you can go see Pine Valley. That was such a cool little thing that we've talked about doing for years.
Hmm.
And so the fact that they don't do that anymore, I feel like it takes away from whatever legacy the Crump Cup has. I'm speaking out against the Crump Cup
Yeah,
right
I
now.
would watch
You've
yourself.
taken
You're
away
never
from
gonna
your
get.
legacy. You've taken away from your legacy.
You're never gonna get on Pine Valley with that attitude. You gotta burn these tapes. Okay, final question. Dylan Umbridge asks, do you guys have a schedule in mind for the podcast for the rest of this year, the off season, and next year? It's a great question, Dylan.
Thanks,
Couldn't
Dylan.
have written it better myself.
Mr. Umbridge.
I do not take umbrage with that question.
Um, I feel like you should lead out on this question,
Yeah,
Brian.
I think we do have a schedule we've talked about, and I'm not sure if I can recall it exactly off the top of my head, but I do know that the next two episodes will probably focus on member. We'll definitely
Right.
recap that, and then we'll talk about our trip to North Carolina and the VI for sure. So that will probably be our next couple of episodes. This episode here is episode 26, so that'll be 27, 28. Yeah, and I think we'll get to 30. I think we'll get to 30. Probably one more mailbag episode, and then we'll have a season-ending episode sometime end of October, beginning of November. 30 feels like a nice round number for a season. I think at the beginning of the year, if you would have told me, would you sign up for a 30 episode season, I would have been like, yeah, that sounds like fun, and it has been fun. So
It has. And I've said this to you a number of times. I'm really excited about some of the stuff that just the initial talks we've had about next year.
mhm.
I think we've got. I'm excited about where this thing's moving.
Same. Yeah, so we'll do 30 episodes. We'll end sometime in early November, and then maybe some bonus stuff over the off season. We'll see how that goes, but the plan 100% would be to jump back into weekly episodes when the golf season starts, which would probably be sometime around the beginning of April. Maybe sooner. We'll see. But yeah, that's the plan. I'll be a grandpa by then. And
You'll be long a grandpa, and if they keep on my schedule, you'll be a grandfather to a second child by then.
I hope they don't, just for
Wow,
their sanity's sake.
pretty
I mean,
pro-choice.
I'm not saying anything about your life choices, but if they want to be holding a baby from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. constantly,
Be fruitful and multiply. Brian says no. It says
you can be fruitful and multiply. Just maybe space it out every 18 months.
hope they don't. Uh, it's so direct.
I mean, do you recommend having two kids 10 months apart?
Yeah, really grateful for my daughter, Brian.
Okay, that's a good answer. That's the right answer.
Yeah, June's great. Thanks for asking.
Listen, June didn't need to exist now. June could exist.
You realize if she didn't exist now, it would be someone different. That's how this works.
Okay, I feel like I've backed myself into a corner that I can't escape from.
Yeah.
And I should have just said, I do hope my daughter has two babies within 10 months. That's what I'm hoping
Welcome
for.
to the Bag Chatter podcast with a man who regrets his daughter, whose second child was a mistake. So,
Oh, man.
oh. No, yeah, we're really happy with our two kids. But thank you.
And I hope my daughter has surprise twins is what I'm actually hoping now. That's what
As you should. God intended.
the more the merrier. I mean, honestly, anybody who only has one kid at a time, I'm like, why? Why did you do that?
Why do you even care? Do you even care about multiplying?
So as we record this on a Friday, member starts in exactly 8 days. We haven't really talked about this. Is there any chance of us getting out, practicing, playing 9 holes? Should we try to do that between now and then? Is that possible?
I feel like it's worth noting. Someday when we're wildly famous podcasters, rather than just the really really famous podcasters,
Mildly
that we
famous.
are,
Yeah.
Um, we will go back there. We recorded a podcast, way back before a member, and we had decided that our whole podcast was going to be called Member.
That's right.
And so we went over this entire format. It's actually the same format outside of the one change. We talked about what the goal scorer would be. We recorded an initial episode, so that will be like, that will be the dang it. Sorry. I'm ruining this. There's such a specific reference I'm trying to make. That will be there was a mouse who was pre Mickey Mouse who's clearly, oh my gosh.
Right.
What is it?
Fievel? No, I know it's not Fievel.
Fievel?
In American Tail?
Fievel. Oh, I can't believe I can't.
I'll sing to the people while you Google it.
It'll be
Somewhere out there.
No. That episode will be the Oswald the Lucky Rabbit to our Mickey Mouse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you know, by the way, this is a true story. So, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit was the initial Mickey Mouse that Disney created, correct? And then they actually lost the rights to Oswald at some point, and they at some point. So then I think it was Fox, maybe, who owned Fox or NBC who owned the rights to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and they traded Oswald the Lucky Rabbit's rights for Al Michaels in the football booth.
I had heard the story and I forgot it,
which is awesome.
It is fantastic. That is amazing.
But yeah, so I feel like that got real long-winded. I actually forgot Oswald's name for a minute, which really takes away from the story. But
well, if I'm pretty sure I can find that episode on my computer somewhere. So maybe, maybe I can pull up a few clips from that and weave them into our next episode, talking about the member to see just how close we were to predicting our success.
That's right. Which, listen, again, I know Barney is not going to win, but I don't know if we're going to win. But Barney's not going to win.
There is going to be, by the way, if you win a couple bucks this weekend on FanDuel, there is going to be. Actually, this is something we should talk about offline, or online, but offline too. There's going to be Calcuttas.
I'm betting actually on Alice and Barney.
Well, there's that too. There's parimutuel betting where you can.
Oh, I thought that was Calcutta.
No,
sorry.
Calcutta is like. I've never done an actual Calcutta. They got rid of those in Honeybrook Member Guest years ago before my time. You could just buy in for your team for the same exact price across the board. But I believe Calcuttas are like bidding. There's a bidding war on each team, and you can choose to bid on your team depending on how high it goes or not. Now, some people do like capped Calcuttas because I've heard it can get like outrageous.
Stupid.
Yeah, which is why I think they went away from it at Honeybrook years ago. But if there are actually Calcuttas, which I think there are, team buy-in Calcutta. But again, maybe it's capped. I don't know. And parimutuel betting.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Love Barney and Alice.
Yeah, I mean...
Barney and Alice
it's a pretty good investment.
Are a formidable team. They're a formidable team.
That we took down in team match play this year. One of our best accomplishments.
Everything we had. It took everything we had.
It did. Maybe my best accomplishment in like barely getting in your top 5 this year. But... you're in the Tournament of Champions twice over, and I'm not. So
That's good.
Yeah,
that's true. And I shot 68. That was fun.
And you got to 5 under at one point. Oh wait, never mind. That's not even a big deal.
That's not a big. I didn't do that this year, Brian. First of all,
I
also tied for 64th in a U.S. Open qualifier. So
you got that going for you.
Is that good?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I caddied in a U.S. Open qualifier. Is that good?
Oh, yeah. How did he finish?
64th.
Interesting. All right.
I will hopefully see you before next Saturday. But if not, let's play
Yeah,
well.
we will. We will. No, we 100% we're playing. We're we should actually play a 36. So, sorry, I should have just should have said this.
I mean, we should play.
Do it again.
Okay.
Do it again.
No, I'm
And
not
I'll see.
editing. We've not had any mistakes in this entire podcast. I'm doing zero editing with this.
That's terrifying. But yeah, no, we should play. We should honestly try to play 36 and like have our score and see how it compares to
Right.
previous.
And that would also help me to get to my goal that you think is really dumb as well. So
It's just not an accomplishment, is all it is. It's not. It's
maybe
not dumb. It's just not an
maybe
accomplishment.
that's why when I tell people about it, nobody seems to care. Maybe you're right about that.
That is why. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you out there for 36.
All right.